The beginning of the school year can feel completely overwhelming. In this video, I want to run you through some ways that I've been able to start the year right without burning myself out. I want to thank Staples for sponsoring this video, and we'll get to how they're helping teachers start the year off right as well in just a moment. But first, there's a million ways that I could share in this video, but I'm going to try and keep it to like
9.
That still feels like a lot, but some of these are really small shifts. And like many things in your life, small little shifts can have such a huge impact on your life. And so that's where I want to kind of jump off with this for. So when I go back to school and I go into that classroom and there's 90 extra things in there because all summer people have been storing things in your room, pushing things in your room. They redid the hallway tile, so they push everything in your room. This is when I get rid of everything that is not essential. I like to think of my classroom as like a kitchen or a workbench. All supplies can be kept in there. Anything you're going to use can be kept in there. But like, this isn't a storage space. This isn't the pantry. The pantry is the closet, is your attic, is your basement. Anything non-essential doesn't get to live in the classroom because it just creates clutter. And so what I want is only essential items accessible at any given time. And you know, there's a whole nother video on like how to kind of clean up closets and workspaces and filing cabinets and things of that nature. But for right now, it is simply looking at your classroom, seeing anything that doesn't need to be in there, and then removing it from your classroom. Second thing, my wife told me once that if you're having people over, or if you want to make your classroom feel clean, the first thing you should do is just clear off all surfaces. And I thought this was so funny, but because it really works. So if you're at home and you just clear off the dining room table, you clear off the kitchen counters, you clear off the top of the piano or the mantle or that place by the front door where everyone piles all their stuff all the time, clearing surfaces gives you the sense that things are cleaner. So it's not that you actually cleaned, it's that you just like, man, she's gonna get mad at me for this one maybe. It's not that you actually clean, it's that you just present a less cluttered area. Back to school shopping for my classroom essentials always feels a little bit like Christmas came early. Brand new Ticonderoga pencils, Crayola colored pencils, Sharpies, binders, Astro Brights colored paper, staplers, scissors, boxes to organize everything in, fresh note cards, sticky notes. It literally fills me with excitement to head back to the classroom. This year, I'm doing something different. All of my back to school necessities for myself and for my kids are coming from Staples.com. Staples delivers on solutions that parents and teachers need when shopping for back to school. With easy online ordering and free, fast delivery, you can save on all your favorite school essentials and head forward to class with confidence. There's a link in the description box below for Staples.com and linking all of my back to school favorite essentials. So to get you and your family ready for the school year, head over to Staples.com now. The other thing that I love doing, and this is maybe a weird one, but I really, really like it. It's really fun. There's an artist named Tom Sachs, and Tom Sachs made a video about something he refers to as knolling. I never thought of knolling before. I didn't know what knolling was until Tom Sachs put me onto it, but it is neatly placing all items that are essential that need to stay out on a countertop, on a tabletop, on a desk, and putting them in neat order so that you can see what's there. So what you're doing is basically taking all the clutter, all the madness, that if you could see my desk right now, I would show you, but I'm not. When I get things clean and neat and organized, I like to put things in a very specific order so I can see exactly what's there, and just that gives me such a deep sense of peace. Next thing, keeping everything together. I am not organized by nature. Although I operate so much better from being organized, I find that having like little things to have everything in. So whether it's these little jar things, I don't even know what they're called, boxes, like I grab these at Staples every year, or just simple pencil boxes. But inside of this, I would only put like all colored pencils, all markers, all permanent markers, all window markers. Like everything has its own place. So whether it's a bin, or it's a drawer in my classroom, or suitcases that I use for stuff, everything is in one location so that if a kid needs a pencil, a pen, a marker, an eraser, you go to the drawer, you go to the box that's labeled as such, and then you pull from there. And it makes life so much easier for putting things away and for finding stuff. The other part of that, now you can use the labels on front of a lot of these things, or I just use masking tape for a lot of stuff, or duct tape, because duct tape is useful for everything. And I label everything. I can't just put the colored pencils in here. It has to say colored pencils. And for labeling, I love using I get like the fine tip Sharpies. Real quick, fine tip Sharpies and chisel tip Sharpies are never in the same case. They're in two separate cases, two separate drawers. But I'll either label these, or I like the chisel ones because it gives a nice fat label on certain things, and that just makes my whole life easier, and it makes it easier for students to see things. Next is, look, I put my name on everything. I write my name on every stapler, tape dispenser, on every stool. Literally everything in my classroom has my name written on it. Because look, sometimes, maybe people steal stuff, but I like to think that they borrowed stuff and then they forgot to give it back to me. And as I'm walking around the school and I see a red stapler with a giant Reynolds written on the side of it, I know it's mine. It's not even up for argument. And then I just take it back. So put your name on everything. For this next tip, we're going to the board. All right, teachers, listen up. There's a lot of things that are going to try and take up your time. There's a lot of people that are going to try and take up your time with things that they want you to do because they didn't want to do them. So there's a really easy way that I've learned to make sure that the things that I'm doing are actually important. So first, I write a list. I love writing lists. I just get legal pads and I write out lists of everything and do like a brain dump. Then I like to identify what I think is important by doing a few things. One, there are important things and there are not important things. There's also urgent stuff and there's stuff that's not urgent. So if you have something and it is important and urgent, you write it in this section right here, right? You can do this on a piece of paper. I love using like these giant Post-it note packs. They're super great. You can pull them off. You can put them all over your classroom. They're good for like a million different things. If you have something that is important, but it's not urgent, you can put it over here because you're not going to do it right away. You're just going to plan to do it at some point later. If something is urgent and not important, then get somebody else to do it. Delegate it. Tell a kid, tell a student, ask a friend, look for help. But it is a way to get something off your plate and onto someone else's that's more suited for the job. And for those not urgent and not important things, don't do them. Get rid of them. Erase them off the list. There's all kinds of things that look important, seem important, someone acted like they're important, but then you sit there and you think, and you realize, that wasn't important. I'm not doing that right now or at all. So this simple plan has worked for me for years, and it's really a way for me to actually identify the handful of things I need to get done every day. There is always, in education, there is always ongoing work. But what you want is to not have unfinished work. You know that there's always going to be more to do. But for what's urgent and important, that's what you want to identify for the day. And that's enough about that. Here we go. 2 more ideas. One, last year, we're in school. It's like maybe the 3rd week of school. So we're like actually teaching now. We're not just going over policies, procedures, that sort of thing. We're like in the thick of it. And once you build that momentum in the beginning of the year, you really want to keep it up. But what happened? The internet goes out. And sometimes the internet goes out for a couple minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's half a day. The internet went out at our school for 4 days. 4 days. And let me tell you, it was like time stopped. The way I got around that was I keep a hard copy of just about everything we do in a given year. And if something is on a Google form or it's a Google Doc, there's somewhere online, you keep it in Dropbox or something, anything that can be printed, I print it out. And then I use binders. I go full old school. I use binders. I keep them in all different colors. And typically I'll print out a picture of like the unit. So if it's the Odyssey, Lord of the Flies, of Mice and Men, it's short stories, it's whatever you're working on. I put a label in the front and I put a label on the side to just remind me so I can find things quickly. I also don't like using all the same color because I want them to stand out. I want like the visual is real important for me. It helps me find things quicker. But getting binders was the other thing I was using. And going old school also with the insertable dividers, it just makes life a whole lot easier. So if the internet does go out, if something doesn't go according to plan, if power goes out, you're still rocking and rolling because all you got to do now is just make copies. And if you watched one of my latest videos, you know to do that before the school year even starts, or at least when no one's in the building. And the last thing I do to start the year off right, to keep the stress level at a minimum, is you gotta remember that this is supposed to be fun. Like, you got into education because you thought at least it would be fun. And so we are the only people that can manufacture that feeling in ourselves, right? Like, you can borrow, so maybe someone like pours a little fuel on your fire, but the fire is your job. No one can steal your joy, and the only person that can really give you joy is yourself. You can't get it from anybody else. Like I said, they might be pouring fuel on your fire, but you need to do that yourself. So how do you do that in school? Go in your classroom, pull up the shades, or if you're in the basement like I used to be, like turn on a light, put on some loud, amazing music, and just look around your room with a sense of wonder and possibility, trying to think and imagine and dream of what you could do in there this year. My friend Hayward John told me recently that too many people focus on being extraordinary when what they should be doing is trying to put a little extra in their ordinary. So the next time you walk into that classroom, look around and think of how you might be able to take your ordinary and put a little extra in your ordinary. Again, I'd like to thank Staples for sponsoring this video. You can go right in the description box below to find all of my back to school essentials and find the link so you can go right to staples.com and start your school year off right. For anything else you might need from us, you can go right to realrapwithreynolds.com. And please look, if this video helped you, we're trying to help as many educators as possible. Please consider sharing it, hit the subscribe button and the like button. It just helps us pop in the algorithm, because the goal is to really help all educators be the educators that they are called to be. That's it, gang. Peace.